Okay, so welcome everyone to Spiritism at Noon. We are studying the book Full Life, written by the spirit Joana de Angelis and through the mediumship of Divaldo Pereira Franco. Today we are in chapter 12. Each chapter is a different topic, and the topic that we are having today is resort to prayer. So as we can imagine, this is where Joana de Angelis will talk to us about the benefits of prayer and also teach us how to do prayer properly. And but before we started, as we can see, I have today the announcement of the symposium that we are going to have in Portland, Oregon, a spiritual path to mental balance. It's going to be in September the 30th, and is the 17th annual symposium. And our registrations are open at the spiritist.us or Spiritist Symposium if you prefer. And we hope to see you there. We have prepared a very, very nice, interesting program. And it's going to be held in the Portland University Lincoln Recital Hall, which is very special for us since we know that this spirit helps us so much in all the spiritual accomplishments. So let us start by reading it, and then we will, as always, stop to comment and questions, okay? All right. Prayer is a sublime instrument that human beings should use to nourish their soul. Always and in any circumstance, prayer is a strong tonic that establishes balance and maintains peace. Powerful energy. It uplifts the spirit of the one who prays, seeking to emotionally tune in to the generate founts of life. A sure connection for preserving the mental lucidity needed to reach loved goals, prayer provides harmony and joy on the existential pathway. Prayer should be the item that is most frequently chosen on the existential menu as a treasure with unique possibilities for the work of one's inner education. Some uninformed theologians and believers mistakenly think that prayer is merely a reservoir of strength for special moments. Consequently, individuals resort to its assistance only when circumstances seem to conspire against their yearnings for well-being and other human longings. In such cases, miraculous occurrences are expected, as if the act of praying merited an immediate answer from the divinity to their urgent pleas. Okay, let us stop here because we already have so much that we can talk about prayer and how we see prayer. From the spiritual perspective, we should start understanding prayer in a totally different context. Of course, along the times, the religious forms of worshiping God and all that, we always looked at prayer as a way for us to communicate with God, but only or mainly when we are talking about requesting something because we want a certain protection. We never think about how much as spirits we have the ability to communicate between the worlds, meaning the spirit world and the material one. So with this resource, meaning that we are and we can be in constant contact with spirits from the beyond, considering that they have so little possibilities, right? Especially related to the on height when we talk to God. Our main concern should really rekindle, so to say, this flame, this brightness that we have that within us that connects us to God. And understanding how thoughts work and how we attract likewise thoughts. Here we are not talking about prayers that we know by heart, which can totally be used as long as our thoughts and emotions are connected to it. So it's much more about an emotion, about what we are going to be transpiring when we are addressing the divine, than necessarily what kind of words we are going to be using. But of course, because we have so many centuries of, conditioning in just going and praying the rosary and, a repetition, not necessarily putting our minds into it. And of course, not having the results the majority of the time that we would like to have, because there is a phrase that says that when the gods want to punish us, they answer our prayers. So you see, many times God is helping us just by not answering our prayers. So this is what we have to start understanding now. This thought emotion connection, and the thought emotion connection, how it impacts our day-to-day lives. So prayer here is not just to be, an outward demonstration of faith. If it doesn't have really this emotional content. So do you like to say something or ask something?
I'm really surprised in this sentence that the people pray when the life's not so good, because actually for me it's most difficult to pray while something wrong, facing something wrong or disturbing in my life than in the calm state of my daily life. And my prayer when I face some disturbing situation is short, like, please, my guardian angel, protect me, just give me your light. And then that's it. I cannot really pray long and calm with serenity as should be.
Okay. You see, Sonia, it's interesting because when you were saying that, I thought myself in the, being in the situation so many times as well. I saw myself being in the situation so many times before. And a thought just occurred to me. Maybe it is difficult for us exactly to pray when we are in such a state of despair, because somehow we already understand that it's not just about words and how well they are said, but it's about emotion, right? It's about how we put our hearts into that. And of course, when we are in state of despair, it's so much harder for us uh, to express a balanced emotion, which means in my understanding, okay, I'm not saying that I'm right, in my understanding that maybe this is exactly the reason why it is so hard for us, because we already see prayer in under a different light, that when I can really put my emotional myself into it, and in those moments I cannot. So I don't know, it's food for thought. um, and this is why, we have a group of friends that can help with the prayers, one praying for another, a chain of prayers. And not to mention that just by this plea of despair, definitely the spirits are going to be helping. But I think the sensation of not being capable is because of that. We are so unbalanced that I cannot verbalize. I can not put my emotions in this as I should. But in any case, we should try. And sometimes what I say is that when we cannot really, make sense of words or even emotions, one thing that can help us is to get a book of prayers, or, with uplifting messages, and just read that, even if you cannot yet pay that much attention. It's like taking a medicine. As soon as you take a Tylenol, it's not going to work immediately, but if you keep insisting and not right taking it, that as you go on and reach little by little, you will find a little peace as well. Okay. So let's keep on going.
Well,
okay, I'll go ahead, Marilyn.
I've been praying for some time for a couple of friends who have very serious illnesses. And honestly, I don't see any improvement, even though I do it every day. So I'm just wondering why God doesn't answer our prayers. It makes me feel bad that I can't help them.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
That's it.
Okay. You see, Marlene, the thing is, we don't know. We don't know why, in certain cases, we don't see the response that we would like to see. Because the thing is, this is the difference between, the prayer being answered, or the prayer being answered, but not in the way that we would like to see it. We know that there is wisdom in the work of God. We know that many times, things could be so much worse. There could be so much more aggravation, but exactly because of the prayer, because of the faith, things don't get better, but don't get worse. We understand that we as spirits, we have a journey, we have a path that we have chosen for ourselves, and not necessarily this path is only, made of good and happy moments. On the contrary, because we still are in a very in this stage of evolution that we have been causing so much trouble to ourselves, and troubles are they have consequences. Sometimes the machine, meaning our organic body, is so compromised that there is no more possibility of restoring it. And this is why sometimes we don't see miraculous prayer. I do remember once watching on Oprah, actually, a woman that was stage 4 cancer that went to look for spiritual healing, to be, to be able to be healed by spirits, right? By the assistance of spirits. And then she was telling Oprah that she didn't get the healing. She was still, terminal 4, had still a terminal 4 of cancer, but she got a healing that she was not expecting, which was the healing of the soul. And she said, before I was so rebellious, I could not accept anything, I didn't believe in anything, and now I feel this peace in me, I feel this understanding, and I have to tell you, I am healed of the soul, and I feel so much better now, and I'm ready to go through what I had to go through. I remember when I watched that, she spoke with so much clarity, and it was so beautiful the way that she was saying it. It was not because she had conformed to the situation. You could see that. It was not just she was playing to herself, okay, I have to accept, nothing can help me. No, you could really feel that this was what she was feeling. So prayers, in the sense, the thing is, and this is the lesson today, to resort to prayer no matter what, because things may not get better, but they may get so much worse if we don't have a positive attitude, if we do not engage in better behavior, if we are not surrounded by good energy, that we are working ourselves to provide, or receiving from others with their prayers. So this is the lesson. This is why I think we keep on praying, even though, like I told you, we all, with our prayers, would like to see miracles, and time will fix everything, right? Will help in each and every way. But I understand what you're saying, and the frustration that it brings to us. But we should never give up.
Thank you.
Sara,
Yeah.
I have a question, sort of, as we continue our studies through Spiritism. This is why Spiritism is so beautiful, because it explains to us that we are spiritual beings, soul now here on this planet Earth, and we all come with our own strengths and abilities, and we have to go through certain things in life. And that gives me the answer that we don't know our past. And if we understand about the past, that we come here in the present to try to do better. And sometimes we do the best that we can, but at times it's not going to be what we want. We want to get cured. We want to feel better. But then we have to keep thinking that there's reason for everything. God is just, God is good. He gives us what we need. You know, do we have, are we, is, that's the way I figure it, that when things are going wrong, you know, I stop and think and meditate. Yes, we pray. But then in the back of my mind, there are reasons for all this. And if we lose the reason, then we get lost in thought and say, you know, why hasn't God, you know, taken care of my needs? I don't know. That's the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, and you see, Zoraida, I'm sure all of us have not just one, several experiences with our own selves that we can look back and we can see that a certain illness, a certain difficulty have somehow shaped us for better.
Yeah.
Right. We learned lessons and we have time to reflect. This is one of the reasons why we also, you know, Spiritism also talks about the responsibility of time, trying to abbreviate life, because every second counts, and every second, you know, can make you lead to a different reflection, to a reconciliation, even if it's just a reconciliation with the mind and the soul, not necessarily face to face with a person that you have difficulty with. It can be, you know, a physical illness, for example, can be something that will be responsible for you not to engage in worse things. Like, you know, we have this as teaching from Jesus: if your right or left hand is the cause of scandal, you better cut it off.
Yeah.
So it's very much like that, right? I mean, of course, it's a very, you know, vivid example, but in short is that. And sometimes, you know, we have those things that are happening to us that actually act as a way for us not to deviate more. And if you were going to free the person from those kinds of burden, you know, the person could be engaging in much worse behavior. You see, be it because of health, be it because of professional life, be it because having too much money or having none. All of those things can lead person to very difficult behaviors, you know. I remember, and I think it's in the book Missionaries of the Light, when there is this woman. She was a very nice spirit already, that she was about to reincarnate, and she is in the department of reincarnation, and she comes to the responsibles of, you know, the drawing that will become her future body on Earth. You know, the details, all, you know, that she was going to have in the future reincarnation. And then she said, well, I don't like this body. And they say, what you're talking about? You have a very perfect balanced body with the glands working fine, you know, because it's, you deserve that, right? And she said, I would like to have some of a gland problem, because my body is too perfect, and I don't want it to be reincarnated to too beautiful, because it can get in the way of me not being able to accomplish what I want to accomplish. So do something that will make me a little fat, or not have the perfect body, because I don't want it to succumb to the temptations. And so she's the one that requested, hormonal kind of problems, so she wouldn't have the perfect body structure. And so this is how we do it. But of course, when we arrive here, our thoughts are not exactly like that, and we think about other things. So I think having a spiritual perspective, it's never about abandoning our physical existence, and not understanding the importance of all that is related to our life on earth, but it's also about calling our attention, you are more than that. Okay, and this is what is missing. I normally say that, I guess, an average person will think 90% about physical life, and perhaps 10% or less in being an immortal spirit. So our goal here is perhaps to think about being an immortal spirit at least 20-30%, when the ideal would be 50-50, because we have commitments in relation to our life on earth, but we also have commitments in relation to our immortal life and life as spirits. So let's strive for 20-30%, which is good enough. And this comes with this understanding, comes the acceptance that although we cannot understand, I mean, there are so many things that we do not understand. Why there is a genetic illness in the family, and we will have 5 children and only one of them get it, or don't, or all the 5 of them get it?
Yeah.
Science cannot explain that. Right. And the thing is, when we are talking about spiritual things, that it's much more beyond to us than physical explanations, we want to understand everything. Right. I remember that because I have tinnitus, and I went to the doctor. I was in my 20s, and I said, oh my God, this is unbearable. And he said, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do. You have to learn how to live with that.
Yeah.
And this is it hasn't changed so far, but you see, if we are so incapable of having the answers and resolving or bringing solutions to things pertaining to earth, why do we have to be surprised with the things that pertains to the spirit realm? It's much more unknown to us. And this is the reason why, like you were saying, Zoraida, it comes to a point with maturity. It's not with blind faith. We are not talking about blind faith. We are talking about conquering resilience with the experiences that we are having. And this means we go through harsh times, and we can realize that many occasions we are still standing because we have this understanding. It would be great if we could solve everything, not only related to us, but also, like Marlene was saying, we see our friends suffering, we see our loved ones suffering. We want to help them, but the recipe is keep on helping, Do not give up.
Mm.
And with all your love, give this love, this attention that you have for your loved ones, your friends, friends that are not well, and ask God to do what is best for this person.
Yes.
And yeah, Marley? Oh, okay. So let's read a little bit more.
Yeah.
Transformed into an obligation imposed upon individuals, prayer is used only under special conditions, mainly those of despair and anguish, in an effort to force God to give them what they want regarding all the problems that are presented. They cling to sonorous or poetic words and repeat them from memory with no connection to the target to which the prayer should be directed. The result of this improvisation is usually frustrating, discouraging. Physical existence imposes commitments and responsibilities that must be considered and experienced so that it may unfold in a pleasant way. Included in this area, the spiritual task, included in this are the spiritual tasks that should be exercised with indispensable selflessness and fighting spirit in search of self-illumination. Normally, caring for the body demands most of one's available time, making all kinds of efforts to attend to established routines or simply indulging in excessive idle rest. Only when something unexpected happens or some need presents itself with urgency does one think about the reality of being, but not always with the consideration it deserves. It is only natural that the results are not satisfactory or are non-existent due to the lack of connection with the higher spheres of the good. So here's one of the Angelis is in the first paragraph is talking about the situations that we will mostly engage in resorting to prayer. If something is happening, even if like when Sonia said, we do not know exactly what to say or how to pray, in any case, we are going to be thinking about God at this moment. We will be, I don't know, going to a temple of our choice just to unburden ourselves. And this is when we remember that God is present in our life. And so she says, we are used to repeat poetic words, sonorous or poetic words from memory, but with no connection. So sometimes it's not about repeating, or many times it's not about repeating those words. Like we said, there is no problem in doing that if you're really connecting. And because in many occasions we are not connecting, it is, you know, when we want to talk to someone in your cell phone and you do not have connection, right? You do not have connection. So you're not going to be able to do that. You have the phone, the person has the phone, the tools are there to help you.
Mhm.
But if I don't establish a connection in one way or another, we are not going to get through. We are not going to be able to communicate with one another. So this is one thing that we have to think about. And the other thing is, again, we don't know what is best for us and what is are the trials that each one of us have chosen for ourselves. And this is what we really have to think about, and it should be something that should be part of our daily lives. again, it's not a matter of, making long prayers,
Right.
going or not to temples, or, you know, it's just establishing this connection. And of course, this leads to people losing the faith that they never had in the first place. Because they say, every time I pray, I don't see my prayer answer. So what's the point? Right? We don't see it because we don't know what is going on. Like we said, it could be much worse. It could be much worse. You see, this is one thing that I think about. I don't know if I told you that already or not. I guess so. In terms of this ringing in my ears, I'm sure it could be much worse. So even if it's here and bothering me, I know somehow that that is the blessing of God to make it bearable so that I can live in balance, Otherwise, I don't know. I heard about people. I have a friend that thought about killing himself because of the ringing in his ear. And after not doing that, he got into a profound state of depression. And for the past 5 years, he's been seeing one doctor after the next, not having any kind of result. And you see, so every time I think about, oh my God, this is hard, this is difficult, I say, oh no. I know it could be much worse, so I'm going to accept it as it is. And I think this is how we have to see things. And there are messages from the spirits that say that if we could realize how much of bad things that could have been coming our way are removed from our path, just because we are showing indications and desires to get better, we would really be ashamed of thinking that they are not here for us, that they are not assisting us. So I trust their words. And no complaint, just really asking for resilience, for courage to go through all that, and not to succumb.
To just accept, just accept what is, and
yes, Marlene, but it's an active acceptance. It doesn't mean that you are going to stop looking for ways to make it better. You see, it's not like, oh, I have diabetes, I cannot eat sugar or that, so it's a matter of living 3 or 4 more years. What the hell? I'm going to keep on eating what I want to eat, and that's it. It's my fate, and that's it. No, we know of diabetic people that may live to 100, right? So sorry, I disconnected my. And so we will try to do as much as possible, because we never know when the time for that to stop will arrive. And all of a sudden, there will come a miraculous medicine that will change completely the life of people that live with diabetes.
Mhm.
For instance, we have anesthesia today. We have penicillin today, that is stopped so many infections, and so things are getting. So it's not about just saying, "Oh, this is it. It is what it is. There is nothing I can do." No, we will be insisting on at least trying to conquer a better attitude, like the example of the woman that I was talking to, Oprah, did.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that I'm not get better physically speaking, but I can be in good spirits, and I can really take the best out of the months or year that I have to live, and not be just crying over something that I cannot change. And you see, we have so many stories. We ourselves do remember that person, Zoraida. I forgot her name. That was almost like godmother, and that she had cancer for so many years.
Yes, I forget her name.
I forgot her name as well. I'm so horrible for names. Not Cynthia. And she was in stage for, I don't know for how many years, because Elmo, which is one of the directors and co-founders of the Spiritist Group of New York, he would come to us, and he is an assistant physician, and he would say, if you want to see miracle, look at her. I really do not know how she's still alive.
Right.
Remember,
Yes.
Zoraida, that was amazing. But she had a positive attitude, and she was, saying, okay, you gave me an year. I'm going to live my year. I'm going to make it, make a difference in this year. And then she had the second year, the third year, the fourth year. I think she lived at least 6 years after she had, at least,
Mhm.
because it was all the time we were waiting.
Bye
Well,
bye.
now she's going to die. No, she didn't.
Yes.
No, she didn't. And so many people died before her, right? Not even having such a diagnosis. So this
Wow.
is,
That is
and so there is a difference in resigning, conforming to
what they give us.
acceptance of the heart. Maybe the path for things to get better was just that, a true acceptance of the heart. Oh, okay, now you learned your lesson. Now you can climb in the mountain of, physical, spiritual, emotional health. Yes.
We don't get, I believe that what it says, we don't get what we want, we get what we need.
Mm-hmm.
I wish
Yeah.
dear God, could you give me $1 million and I'll be fine. I'll live my life, a better life. No,
Yeah.
you get what you have, what you've done, and move forward and
Mm-hmm.
understand that it is work. I was speaking to someone yesterday about the same situation about, I'm talking about medicine, and I'm under some medicine that's they're trying to lower the dosage, and the lower you get, the more pain you get. So I said, listen, I have to take it because I don't want the pain to drive me crazy. So she said, oh, I don't take any medicine, nothing at all. You shouldn't take this and you shouldn't take that. I said, oh my God, what am I going to do with this person? And they said, well, to each his own, I mean, I'm doing it because I feel that this is what I have to do. But, the understanding that a lot of people don't understand that it's not only the pain that you get, there's something behind there that I think I feel God with me, and I know what God is doing for me. And it's a good thing, no matter what I have to go through. I just have to keep going. And with faith and with prayers, it give you a little relief here and there, but he never leaves us alone. But you have to get to that point. You know, how much could I explain to somebody they don't understand? I just pray and that's it.
Yeah. My take to medicine is, is a blessing from God. It's a
Right.
gift from God. You see, so for so long we have suffered because not having resources like this.
Mhm.
And what good use could you could you do if you were just bedridden, feeling pain and sorry for yourself? So now you take your prescriptions and you are able to
Function at least.
function, contribute to all that, do so many good things. And so, yeah, but again, we respect everyone's way of thinking. We see, of course, abuses, but we see abuses in everything, right? In the way we eat, in the way we drink, in the way we sleep or don't sleep, in the way we behave, in the way we use our tongue or our ears, in the way we use prescribed medicine, right? In the way we have or don't have enough money. And so, we cannot single out one thing and say this is bad. You see, we have to know what is good for us, and what is good for us is really to accept graciously
Right.
what God is sending our way to make our lives better. And in this way, use the time that we have to make ourselves better. Okay. So anything else? Sonia? No?
Well, I'm
It's
sort of
the same subject about people who pray only when it's difficult, when repeat words. Then I understand it's not the right way we should pray, but come to my mind, then it's a process of learning. Because it's much better you use the prayer in any way in this, when your life's not good, instead to have no prayer, not believe, and then anything else.
Yeah, I was thinking, Sonia, it's like, oops, having 1 bar or 5 bars, right? In your phone.
Exactly.
You can
Then
connect, you still
it's
can have a conversation and link, break at one, but with just 1 bar. But of course, if you have 5 bars, it's so much
at
better,
least
right?
prayer.
Yes, yes. At least, yeah, exactly. Because, it's like when a child comes to us and show a drawing of a dog, and you look at that and say, where is the dog? Right? But it's a child, and they try to depict that in the best way that they could. And they made that special for you, and you are going to be very happy with that. This is how I feel, God feels in relation to us. I mean, this is the way we know, this is the way we learned, this is the way we were taught that it helps. They're making an effort, right? But one day they will really know and learn how to draw a dog, right? And so I think it's very much like you said.